Good afternoon, students.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone. How are you?
We are good, ma'am. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good, students. So, can you see my presentation, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let me put it on flight mode. Okay, now, students. Yes, now, students. So today's topic is dealing with situational approach. Okay. So, what is situational approach and how it is working in English classrooms? Let's discuss about it. How it is working. Okay. So today we are going to discuss about situational approach. What is situational approach and what we are going to understand in this? Let's discuss about it. We are going to basically understand the importance of situational approach in English teaching, and I'll definitely make you understand about the basic principles of situational approach in English. And we will definitely see the students. And about you, I'm talking that you will able to grasp the advantages and criticism of situational approach, as how it is so much benefiting for the students, and how it is not proper to some extent. Then we will discuss about learning outcomes. The students will be able to understand the importance of situational approach. Okay, so this is something that we are going to discuss. And now let's discuss that situational approach. Now, students, let me clarify before we start something. So, it is just go to the brief history of situational approach. It was developed by British applied linguistic in 1930s. Okay, so Harold Palmer and A.S. Hornby, they were the profounder of situational approach. Harold Palmer and A.S. Hornby. Now, see this Michael Halliday's quote here: when we acquire our primary language, we do so by learning how to behave in situations. Okay, are you getting my point? Situation means something in a particular time. Okay, so not by learning rules about what to say. So, this is something, students, that try to understand that people learn more efficiently, more effectively when they put up into a particular situation. So they are understanding more, and when you get the environment, then you learn more. So this is something about that. Okay, so the oral approach or situational approach, we are talking about it. So it is also called oral approach. Situational approach is also called oral approach in language teaching, and it is an approach developed by British applied linguistics, as I have told you, between the 1930s and the 1960s. So while it is unknown for many teachers, it had a big influence on language courses till the 1980s. So textbooks are also there, such as Streamline English, written by Hartley and Vinay in 1979, and were designed following the situational learning teaching approach principles. It was basically on that. So the oral approach or the situational language teaching is based on a structural view of language. Okay, so speech structures and a focus on a set of basic vocabulary items are seen as the basics of language teaching. So this is something that you must understand, that when we are actually using structures in speech, and when we are focused on basic vocabulary items in English language, then it is making a wonderful situation to learn the English language more effectively. This was a view similar to that held by American structuralists also, such as Fries. However, what distinguishes the situational language teaching approach is its emphasis on the presentation of structures in situation. So try to understand, students, what it the theoretical assumption behind that, that when a situation or a particular structure is given to a student, English teaching student, then the student learns more effectively. not in like in a teaching mode always. Like if I give you the chance to debate on anything, on a particular thing, a particular topic, I give you the situation, or maybe I'm creating that situation, then you are learning it more effectively. So situations are created by the teachers here. So try to understand, you will get to know it more clarification. Now let's understand the characteristics of situational approach. So first and foremost important thing is that target language is the language of classroom. I told you earlier in my earlier lecture also what is the meaning of target language. What does it mean? Target language?
English language. English language.
Yes, Archita, very nice. Thank you. English language is the target language because we are learning how to teach English language to the students. So this is a target language. And if I like suppose I'm teaching you pedagogy, so if I don't keep this language in my classroom, how can you even think that you are going to teach English language in your classrooms? Can should I expect it? Should I accept? Just tell me.
No, ma'am.
No, I can't. Why I can't? Why I can't expect if I myself don't use the target language and I'm expecting from you being an English teacher, use it in your classroom.
Ma'am, if teacher is not speaking, then how will student have the interest to speak as well?
Okay, Samiksha, your answer please.
And because we are transferring that legacy into us, because we are also going to become teachers.
Exactly, I'm transferring something. And in the same way, you people are going to transfer something to your students. So target language must be, when we are creating the situation, fine, I'm creating a situation in the classroom, but at least one basic principle which we had read in earlier lecture also. So target language must be in English only. Okay, and language should be realistic. It should not be like imagination, full of imagination or something. You are using the words from Macbeth and William Shakespeare, and the words are like this that you are not understanding and your students are not understanding. Language should be realistic. Whatever the situation is in the classroom, sometimes we make a lesson plan like role play method. So what does role play methods tell us? Role play method tell us that suppose I'm doctor and you are patient. Okay, my role is of doctor and your role is of patient. Okay, so how should a doctor talk to a patient, and how should patient talk to a doctor? Okay, two roles are there. And if another role, teacher and student, how should a teacher talk and how should a student talk? So the different roles are given to them according to the situation and told to the students, now behave. Situation is given to them. So if you want to prepare a lesson plan on situational approach, then you can prepare a role play method, a lesson plan very effectively. It is wonderful. You will have to write the dialogues accordingly, and then you will have to portray it in your students, and as well as you will beautifully execute in the classrooms. Okay, so materials are introduced orally. Whatever you are teaching to your students, your teaching materials, your uh, situation must be taught to students, but must be given to students orally. It is not like that you are writing something and you are giving a notice to your students and your students are learning. It is not like that. You are orally giving them command, you are giving them instructions. Okay, after this and this and that. So this is something following a sequence, one after another. So you are following a sequence. So situations are creating such type of magic in the classroom that students are actually themselves compelled to speak in English. Okay, new language points, words, sentences are introduced from real, imagined real situations. So I told you, like doctor and patient scene. So this is a scene which I'm myself imagining. So I'm giving it to you. Suppose I tell you, Samiksha, to become a doctor, and Archita, I tell you to become a patient in my classroom, and now just deliver the dialogues accordingly. So I have given you some situation. Now, whatever the mistakes you will be doing, I told you, if you are effortful, you will be wonderfully doing the mistakes, and don't be afraid of mistakes. It means you are effortful. So, whatever the mistakes you will be doing, as a teacher, I will be rectifying them then and there orally. I will be telling you not to use this and use this. This word is not good. This word is good, and this should be used, and this should not be used. So this is something that situational approach teaches us, that in particular situation, what type of behavior should be there. Not only behavior, what type of language skills should be there when we are talking specifically about our target language, that is English language. Okay, so new language point should be there, vocabulary should be there, and sentences must be constructed by the students frequently, and fluency must be motivated by the teacher. Now see students how it is. When I'm talking about teacher introduces situational approach, and then teacher introduces situational context in target language, ask for a way. Now you can see first picture that the girl is asking, or we can say that she is asking something from a teacher. Then related to context, teaches new words and structure: straight, street, and then turn, then go there. Then these are some words that will be only used when you will be asking a way from me, isn't it? Or you will be imagining and telling me, okay, very nice, fantastic. So you will be just thinking, what happened to ma'am? Why she is using such words? Give me some situation, only then I will be asking you. Okay, if you ask me, ma'am, how was the movie? You are giving me some situation, and I will be giving you response accordingly. So situational approach tells you, students, this tells you that give your students at least wonderful experience of just connecting it to yourself situation. So learners will lead to the vocabulary, and then grammar, communicate in real situations. Okay, so this is something that you must take care of it. Are you understanding, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now just a second. Okay, this we have done. Now let's see comparison with traditional method. Teacher teaches words and grammar. I'm teaching you words and grammar traditionally. Students learn rules and structure. This was traditionally done when English was taught to the students. But see, can have theoretical knowledge, but they can't use it. When people are actually, they panic, ma'am, we can't speak English, ma'am, we understand, we know the structures, we know how to make the past present perfect sentence, we know how to make future perfect tense sentence. So this is something that is fit into their mind, but a situation was never created so that they could execute their vocabularies, they could feel their vocabulary, they could actually use their vocabulary. So this matters a lot. So method is changed, my dear students. So whenever you think in isolation, please think about it, that traditional methods were okay, fine, but now the methods have been changing, and situational approach teaches you to teach according to the situations, not by following rules, because it will lead to a practical knowledge. It will lead to your enhancing of skills, your all LSRW skills: listening, speaking, reading, and writing, all LSRW skills. Okay, so this is something I want to tell you, that students, when students learn rules and structures, it is in their mind only. It is not coming to their tongue, and they are not speaking, it is not audible. They are well versed with the structures. Ratta marna jisko hum kehte hain, whatever they are doing. So this is something actually strictly unwanted from a side of a teacher. So it means students are not learning. Now next, let's have a look on some basic principles, students, that is related to situational approach. So as I have told you, students, that situational approach, now this much, have you understood this much?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay, just please, just for my confirmation, Samiksha, please tell me, what do you understand by situational approach in very brief?
Ma'am, like in any situation, if we have to mold it, our conventional way of teaching, I would say, according to the situation, according to the subject matter also, I would say. Like if
Hmm,
I'm going with the prose, I'll have to take
hmm,
different method, and if I'm going with grammar, then I will have to use different method, and also application part
hmm,
in grammar is very necessary.
hmm. Okay. And
Like we
Archita,
can go with
hmm. Okay, continue,
go
please,
with
if
the
your answer is not
conventional.
finished. Hmm.
Yes, ma'am. If we can go with the conventional like lecture method in prose, but we cannot do that in grammar. We need application.
Hmm. Okay. And please, Archita, what do you
Ma'am,
understand?
situational approach.
Yes.
Ma'am, situational approach is when a situation is given and how the teacher will behave in that particular situation, or what language he or she is using in that particular situation. The target language should be used, and regional or mother tongue should be avoided. And ma'am, it is based on practical knowledge of the students. Traditional method is avoided, and more and focus is given on speaking part and listening, speaking and listening part, not writing only, not writing skills only.
Hmm. Okay, very nice, Samiksha and Archita, very nice. So this was about situational approach. Now let's have the basic principles of situational approach. So number one is first and very important thing, that language learning is a habit formation. Definitely, students, I have told you many times that language skills, listening, speaking, reading or writing, they will not jump into your mind like a popcorn. You will have to make a habit of it. You will have to make a habit. If you want to improve your listening skill, then you have to listen continuously in that target language only. And so same with the speaking, reading and writing skills. Okay, so this is something habit formation. So habit formation, how habit forms, students, have you ever analyzed that how any thing or any action of yours becomes a habit? How come it becomes a habit if you do any action?
By repeatedly doing it.
Yes, by repeating it. Yes, Vinod, please, I want your answer.
Actually, ma'am, habit is what we call habit. Habit is all about a repetition or a very deep understanding of something.
Hmm.
When a human understand an action with very deeply, and he follow unconsciously. Ma'am, I always connect
Hmm.
unconsciousness with habit, because habit sometimes it is a good thing and it is sometimes it is a bad thing.
No, I just
So
want to ask
habit
from you that when an action becomes habit.
and action become habit when you unconsciously take decisions, when you do not conscious, when you do not think, and when you do not ask yourself that what you are doing. Because
And something in
I
short, if we
always,
can say, in short, we can say when you repeatedly do something or repeatedly do an action, then it becomes habit. As simple as that. You be, definitely what you are connecting it to conscious mind. Conscious mind is actually directing you to do that particular action. Okay, you are going one step back. So I'm just connecting your answer to your
yes ma'am.
explanation, that you have said conscious mind is telling you, directing you to do that action, and again you feel pleasure in doing that action. then this action in long term becomes a habit. Okay, understood? So then it becomes a habit. So first important thing is that repetition is must. Repetition is must when you want to form the habit. Second important thing, pleasure feeling is also important when you want to have something in habit form. Pleasure feeling भी तो होना चाहिए ना, so that should be there. So both of the thing is possible only if the teacher is motivating or actually arousing the interest of the students to learn English language with more enthusiasm. So this is the reason, student, that many of the students in India are actually not, I'm talking about especially rural background students, because teachers themselves are not able to motivate their students. So
One
that
thing,
is, yes, Vinod, please.
what you told us that there must be pleasure feeling with habit. You told me, you told us, yes. So I would like to say something
Yes, please.
that it is not necessary that if you repeat an action when you feel pleasure, because Slavoj Plath was an American poet and she's a good writer, and I remember that she always write when she feel pain, when she was in much pain, she always write, and her all and what should I do, what should I say, the avenues of her literature was come when she was in pain. So it does not mean that you repeat an action when you feel pain. It is not necessary. Yes, pleasure is one option and the pain may be the another option, so both things we can include in this.
Yes, I want answers from other students also on this point, because a very interesting thing Vinod has started. Yes, please.
Ma'am,
Naviksha
I think
wants.
she used.
Madam, the poetess is writing poem. She is
But
composing poetry because she is in pain, and repeatedly she is doing.
Ma'am,
And
maybe
that
she uses
because
writing
that
as an escape from
no
her
that
pain.
the point is if she feels pain and she
he
writes
is
in it,
actually talking
she
about,
finds
you
pleasure
said
in.
that pleasure is their habit formation. Either the
Yes,
habit is maybe wrong or right, okay, correct or incorrect habit. But the point is that we know that maybe she is finding pleasure to write
pleasure in that.
poetry that time, not doing
Yes,
anything else.
yes.
But if the
Then
poet
that
says that
Why she is
transfers to
not
pleasure.
cleaning the house, why she is not going away to shop something, why she is writing only poetry?
she said also, ma'am, I have many examples, many instances which proves that the poet also says that I write, my good creation comes out when I feel pain. John Elia was an American.
This is the
Good,
explanation. Listen, my dear student. This is the explanation given by the poetess herself. But you
yeah.
being a teacher, you must understand it in a different psychological way also. Okay, so you have to connect that thing. My question is to you all, that why the poetess, when she was feeling pain, why she was not doing something else?
Because she loves pain. Maybe it is a,
Yes, now you got my point.
it does not
Because
mean
she
that,
was feeling pleasure,
Yes.
because she was feeling
Hmm.
little relieved from pain when she was writing poems only. So it became her habit. It became her habit. Okay, for now teaching has become my habit. When I teach you people, I forget everything, and this gives me pleasure. So this is something I mean. Okay, this is a long discussion. So let's continue with the situational approach, students. Very nice, good discussion. So now next point is mistakes should be avoided by the teacher. Now you are creating some situations in the classroom. You are giving some situations to your students, and you are giving them situations just because you want to actually enhance their LSRW skills, you want to enhance their English competency. But if they are doing mistakes, don't be focused on them, you just be focused on their efforts. So this is the basic principle of situational approach. So all the time, don't interrupt students when they are trying, when they are answering. Okay, so sometimes it happens that as a teacher you have to interrupt, but try to minimize that, try to listen that as much as you can. Okay, then language skills are learned more effectively if they are presented orally first, then in written form. You just remember your nursery classes when you just saw the big apple and A for apple. The teacher taught you and showed the book, and this is students A for apple orally first. Situation is, this is the apple and this is A for apple, and then writing 3 lines differently and making a form which is called A apple. Okay, so this is something, language skills are learned more effectively when you present them orally first and then in written form. Okay, then the meaning of words can be learned only in a linguistic and cultural context. So whatever the words you are explaining to your students, always remember they must be taught in a deeper meaning and linguistic and cultural context, that maybe your meaning is not appropriate to some particular culture, or it is appropriate to another culture. So always remember that, because it is a foreign language, it is a target language, and you have to have keep this thing in your mind when you are teaching English language. Now students, let's see advantages of situational approach. What does it tell you? So learner can practice vocabularies, grammar, speech, conversation, accuracy in pronunciation and grammar, then ability to respond quickly and accurately in speech situations, internalization of basic structures, forms and vocabulary. Yes, please, I want Samiksha to explain the first point. Learner can practice vocabularies, grammar, speech and conversation. This is the first advantage of situational approach. When you as a teacher, you are availing, you are facilitating your students with the situational approach.
Ma'am,
Yes, please.
ma'am, situational approach is all about practically applying the knowledge that they have.
Hmm.
So their grammar and grammar is definitely we don't have that much elaborative subject matter content. We have only very practical things. We have
Yes.
structural
Now listen one thing.
pattern.
Listen
So
one thing. When you are actually presenting something through situational approach, you have decided that this is the prose chapter and this is something related to the dialogues or conversation or some important discussion, and you are going to create a situation in the classroom, and then you are just moving forward with your prose teaching. Then definitely you are giving your learners lots of vocabularies related to it, and you are giving some grammatical structures also which you yourself are using, and then you are actually forcing your students to use them. Okay, so speech is also there, conversation is also there, because you want to have a discussion on that situation. So this is something situational approach. Then accuracy in pronunciation and grammar is also enhanced when you see your students speaking. Only then you can judge either they are speaking with correct pronunciation or defective pronunciation. Only then you can check them. If they are not speaking, it means there is nothing to check. What will you check if something is happening? So in situational approach, it is said that practice is there, vocabularies is there, speech is there, conversation is there. So something is happening, that is really a beautiful advantage of situational approach. Then the students are also responding quickly in this method, because accurately in speech situations, whatever the teacher has created situation, the students are speaking. Internalization of basic structures, whatever the structures teacher has introduced, it is in the forms and vocabularies, small sentences, big sentences the students are using in their conversation, they are actually making a habit of using them. Now see this formal conversation. I'm fine, sir. How are you, ma'am? So this is something formal, and in interview you have to create a situation. Can you take an interview while doing the morning walk? So do you expect when you are applying for a job and your interview will be held? Okay, all of you come to the Central Park and I'll the interview.
No.
No. So this is something situation is created, students, during interview. Situation is created, how much you are able to face the stress, how much you are able to answer by that time. So this is situation. Now what's the teacher's role in that? So in the presentation stage of the lesson, I'm telling you the threefold function in a teacher's, when teacher is teaching in the classroom about situational approach. So when the presentation stage is there, the teacher serves as a model, setting up situation. I'm setting up everything in the class. I'm setting up either it is my audio visual teaching aids, or my board, or my any teaching aid, or my textbook, anything. I'm setting up a situation in the classroom, what I'm going to teach today. So in which the need for the target structure is created, and then modeling the new structure for students to repeat. Now I'm telling my students to repeat that. So this is the presentation stage, as we do in the model reading and imitative reading, as for example. Then the teacher becomes more like a skillful conductor of an orchestra, drawing the music out of the performers. The teacher is required to be a skillful manipulator, using questions, commands, and other cues to elicit sentences from the learners. Lessons are hence teacher directed, and the teacher sets the pace. Whatever the teacher is speaking, students are definitely going to approve that, and students are going to repeat that. So during the practice phase of the lesson, students are given more of an opportunity to use the language in less controlled situation. When I am creating situation, I'm in my control, but when you actually just shift the ball from for students, then the situation is less controlled, because now the students will behave according to their tendencies, but the teacher is ever on the lookout for grammatical and structural errors that can from the bias basis of subsequent lessons. So at least teacher is watching it, she's pointing out that this is the mistake, but repeatedly teacher is not going to instruct or interrupt between. As the situation is over, then the teacher can give the feedback. Okay, so organizing review is a primary task for the teachers. According to the Pittman in 1963, he has given some six sort of responsibilities of teachers dealing with. So timing is very important. How much situation you have created, for what, for how long, how duration. Then oral practices must to support the textbook structures. Then revision must be there. Whatever the teacher is creating, the situation should be there, that revision is there, review is there from the point of view of content. Adjustment to special needs of individuals, and in your class all the students are of not same IQ, so you have to pay special attention to all the students, and you have to make it sure that your students have learned it or not. And then of course testing is important. In between, evaluation process is going on continuously. As you know, teacher is doing evaluation in the best form when the teacher is asking questions. All right, then developing language activities other than those answer from the textbook. So this is something beyond drill practice also. Whatever the textbook questions are given, give them something else also, so that they can create situation differently. So the teachers is essential to the success of the method, since the textbook is able only to describe activities for the teacher to carry out in the class. There are many activities. You just go and see the English syllabus books, course reader, or anything. At the last page, situations are given. As a teacher, you have to do this activity in your classroom. Then you have to create the situations. Textbook can only guide you. Okay, you can do it, but in practical situation, in real situation, you will be the only one who is going to interact with students. Okay, and you will be only one who is going to actually create the situations in the classroom. And why you will be creating situations? Why? Because you want them to be competent, efficient in all LSRW skills. All right, students. So these are some references for your purpose, students. You can study well from them. Now there are some MCQs. Let's cover them also, and there are some general questions apart from the topic also. So let's understand them one by one for your knowledge. Language teaching implies three operations: language teaching, and another one is
Learning.
learning. I want answers from all of you. Come on, some answers are highlighted. You can well answer them. And because until unless you speak, I have created the situation. Now speak. It will go into your mind. Definitely, you will never forget. So, language is a means of.
Communication.
Very good. Each community says formed by the activity of language. This is given by J.
J.
Whatmore.
What?
Okay. Then the function of language is three functions. Okay, there are three functions. Then the three function of languages are directive, informative, and
expressive,
declarative. Three functions of languages. These are apart questions, general questions of English teaching and learning. So three functions of language learning are directive first of all, then informative, and then declarative. Okay. Then the system of language functions through sounds, words, and communication. Okay. Then dash is the fundamental thing in language learning. Speech. If you can't speak, I can't imagine that you are well versed with English language. You can't if you can't speak. Language is a system of phonetics, grammar, and
Vocabulary.
very good, students. The main purpose of language is communication. Since language is changing, we should teach
descriptive grammar.
Yes, descriptive grammar, structures must be given. And this is not giving the rules, just give them situations. Give them situations, they will create their own. I hope you have understood today's topic, situational approach. Any queries, students?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Any one of you
Yes,
want to
ma'am.
ask anything? Yes, Vinod?
Ma'am, I would like to know when the end semester examination